Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Historical Humans Heritage. And today I think we have one of our most controversial topics. We are looking at the 20th century architecture of Frank Lloyd Wright. So we are going into a more modern approach to architecture, which my co-hosts have some stark
Yeah.
opinions on.
Well,
I didn't
first of
even know
all,
who he was
yeah,
until they said he built the Guggenheim. I'm like, oh, that
yeah,
weird building.
and that's actually something of an interesting angle that's being taken here with our HH Heritage series, and we're not looking at one specific instance or site on the heritage list, but rather a collection scattered, I believe, across the United States of America.
Yes,
It is a collection of buildings that are on this list because of their association with their designer, Frank
Frank
Lloyd Wright.
Lloyd Wright.
I
Yes, it's a
can't
tongue
speak today.
twister.
Um, but basically, it's being looked at the lens of this man instead of through the lens of this place, which is somewhat unique for a World Heritage site.
This is almost like an extension of the American National Register, where you can actually have buildings listed because of their design or because of their architect. So it's
Or
kind of
because of
just,
their association with someone, which
yeah.
is
Well, this is more architecture based, but yeah, Frank Lloyd Wright had a lot of buildings that
yeah,
were very prominent, from Falling Waters in Pennsylvania to the Guggenheim or Monona Terrace in Madison. He also had Oak Park Studios here in our home state of Illinois. So, very, very prominent architect. And I
Maybe
mean,
I actually have to experience. Maybe I should go check that out because, again, from some of the pictures I've seen, I'm not thrilled,
Aaron,
but
go
I
on
think I have
Google
to
right
see
now
him.
and look at Falling Water. Or it's picture 10 of 17, but I don't think this is the best picture. But
but
effectively, Falling Water is considered like his pinnacle, his piece de resistance, because it's literally incorporates a cave and a waterfall, and it takes that natural aesthetic and the rock outcrops and ties it all together.
yeah, and to talk a little about Frank Lloyd Wright and his architecture, there are 8 buildings of his that form this collection as a single entry in the UNESCO World Heritage List. Um, these buildings are made for a variety of functions, but they all emphasize Wright's unique idea and influential idea of organic architecture, which is basically sort of geometric shapes being used in unusual ways, sort of abstracting the space, curving it, rounding it, and just sort of trying to create a new form of traffic flow for individuals. Uh, just under the guise of creating a more naturalistic environment, something that would be more pleasant to be in than the rigid right angles of a lot of modern and brutalist architecture that I believe was also going on around his time. I believe he was very counter to this movement.
Yeah, he was like the perfect antithesis to these like bland, square,
Yeah,
concrete buildings that
yeah,
were
he,
erected everywhere because they were the pinnacle of cost efficiency. Frank
yeah,
Lloyd Wright took the opposite approach of like buildings are beautiful, buildings can be aesthetic, they can have more than just function.
yeah.
I,
He
I
was
mean,
he
I
was
can agree with that sentiment. That's for sure.
yeah he was a man who believed that the urban jungle should look like a jungle and the concrete trees should feel like trees.
And
Uh,
honestly, I think he did that. Like I said, I'm a really big fan of Falling Water because it incorporates nature more so than anything else. And like all of his buildings stand out. You look at them and you go, "That's a Frank Lloyd Wright house
yeah,
or building
I,
or whatever."
yeah. I will say, I think he was very good at what he did. He definitely did what he set out to do. I'm not a very big fan of his too much, simply because spiral spaces confuse me. All right, like the weird concentric circular donut stack that this man likes to pull off, and so many of his students took with them. Just it feels so weird to me.
Do you know what's the
I'm not gonna
beautiful part about
lie.
it being the Guggenheim though is it's an art museum for abstract art, and like that's a very abstract.
It
I mean,
it
like as a
it doesn't
concept,
not
like
hurt me.
yeah,
That
but
doesn't.
like I looked at the Falling Water. I did look at the Falling Water, and I can see the appeal, but at the same time, I'm not seeing what he was envisioning, I guess is what I'm saying. Is it yeah, it's incorporating the landscape, but also it's still abstract that it doesn't look right. Nature wise at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then one of the reasons why we decided to talk about this with UNESCO is a lot of the buildings are in really great condition or are preserved in place. Like, even though it's not mentioned here with UNESCO, his studio space here in Illinois you can visit and
Mhm.
tour. Um,
And it's a good point to note that like all these buildings, these are early 20th century buildings. That's when he was active. So everything here is about 100 years old, which is enough to make it historical and enough to make it sort of in danger of disappearing from the world.
I'm not gonna lie, just because like me and Colum have our criticisms of it, it doesn't mean we hate them. Like, like it's just our preferred style, but I also would like to see these things preserved regardless.
It just, yeah.
Like I think I should go check out that place in was it Bolingbrook or
Oak Park.
Oak Park? I would like to go check it out because maybe then I'd have a better appreciation of the architecture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I highly suggest it because his stuff is unique. And Cullum made a note of it before we started recording that the buildings all look futuristic. They all
Yeah.
look like something you would see in a recreation of a future modernist building, even though
Yeah.
these were built 70 to 100 years ago.
Yeah, and I will say for the buildings that Wright did commission, as much as I find the worst one being the Guggenheim Museum, the Hollyhock House, with its sort of futuristic, classical take, is very much more my appeal, very much more my style. It's very open air, and it's just like I understand that a lot, eat more easier than you know donut stacks and spaghetti junctions as architecture, which is what I will continue to refer to uh, the Guggenheim Museum as until I die.
But one of the reasons why these sites are also on the UNESCO Heritage Site is because they are all, every single one of them is designated as a National Historic Landmark or the highest level of protection you can get in the United States. On top of most of them are either owned by government um, or nonprofit organizations, foundations, um, so that they're all protected from alterations, demolitions, and other changes, which is really,
Yeah,
honestly, quite incredible, I think.
yeah, and the thing also too. Another reason why this is UNESCO worthy is simply the fact that this is an unique and innovative style that is sort of, and these buildings and Wright himself are the touchstone for a number of subsequent styles found not only in the United States but worldwide, including Latin America, Australia, and even Japan. Yeah, the Japanese like the stuff. They took some of it and ran with it,
And
did
I
their own
think that's the
version.
hallmark of someone who is truly innovative when other people see your work and try to
Yeah,
emulate it.
yeah, yeah. So it's like this was something that became the foundation of a multinational, multi-ethnic idea, and that is if you're not going to preserve that, you might as well not preserve anything.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point here to wrap up. So if you guys enjoyed watching, let us leave a like down below, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what your favorite Frank Lloyd Wright building is. And please do me a favor and let Colum know why you think his opinion on the Guggenheim is
Right.
wrong. And we will see you in the
Leave
next
the
video.
comments